Hello, thanks for joining The Maze this week. I am Rosemary Okokotega. The Maze is a weekly update on activities of the National Assembly. Every week at this time, we bring you a rundown of proceedings of both chambers of the National Assembly. And we are glad you could join today's edition. Topping today's chart: tussle for leadership of both Senate and House of Representatives. Watch The Maze live on DSTV channel 392, StarTimes TV channel 127, Free TV channel 507, and on the UHF band channel 38. Stay with us.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, StarTimes Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
You're watching The Maze on ASO Television. We go ahead, starting off from the floor of the Green Chamber. With the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly fast approaching, both chambers are becoming more agog with declaration of interest for principal seats. Top of this is the position of the President of the Senate and Speaker of the House. Already at the Green Chamber, no fewer than 10 members have indicated interest for the main presiding officer's seat. Deputy Speaker Mr. Idris Wase, Chairman House Committee on Appropriation Mukhtar Betera, Chairman House Committee on Navy Yusuf Gadi, former Chairman House Committee on National Intelligence in the 8th Assembly Aminu Jaji, and Chairman House Committee on Land Transport Tajuddin Abbas are in the race. Others are Chairman House Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness Olawi, Chairman House Committee on Water Resources Sada Soli, Yelman Maki, and spokesman of the House Benjamin Kalu, as well as the only female in the race for now, Princess Miriam Onoha. While Wase, Gadi, and Olawi are from the North Central, Jaji, Soli, Abbas, Maki are from the Northwest. Kalu and Onoha hail from the Southeast, with Betera as the lone candidate from the Northeast. Incidentally, he is from the same Borno state with the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima. For today, we will be bringing you excerpts from the official declaration ceremony of two of the contestants and the meeting of the opposition lawmakers. First, let's hear from the spokesman, Mr. Benjamin Kalu, on what he intends to achieve if voted for the seat of Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives.
I'm interested in running for the position of the Speaker of the 10th Assembly. And there are reasons that have motivated my interest. While the zone I come from, which definitely is not really the only reason, is interested in the speakership of the House is that for 40 years, the southeastern region has not occupied that position. 40 years. The last time that position was occupied by people from the southeastern region was during the full tenure of Right Honorable Edwin Ume Ezeoke. And that was 1979 to 1983. From 1983 to date, we're talking about 40 years of my people not sitting on that seat. The question is why? Is it that we don't have competent people? Is it that there is no capacity to be there? And it is high time we, introduce our capacity to Nigerians, our competence to Nigerians, that 40 years, 4 decades was long enough for us to hold the gavel for the House of Representatives. We know we will do well when we occupy that position because of what we are thinking of bringing on board that will strengthen our democracy, knowing that this is the fulcrum of our democracy.
And now to the only woman standing in the race so far, Princess Miriam Onoha. Her manifesto is standing on a 7-point agenda. Let's hear her speak to her manifesto.
Confidently, yet humbly seek the support of my fellow members-elect and the prayers of the general Nigerian people for the office of the Speaker in the 10th Assembly. My emergence will create opportunities for National Assembly stakeholders' engagement to provide access to public participation in the lawmaking process, thereby reducing the situation where the House is seen to be shredded with so much secrecy without the inclusion of the interest and opinion of the Nigerian people, which is one of our core purposes of existence. The emergency of the dwindling number of women in Parliament calls for a deliberate action, an action that will bridge the gender gap, an action that is a call for the leadership of the National Assembly to embrace the stance for a woman of competence and experience like myself. I therefore, honorable, call for my fellow contestants again to support me as a woman with competence, driven with integrity, vision, mission, and a true display of diversity, as well as inclusivity and leadership centered on equality and the capacity to deliver the needed dividends of democracy to our people. No doubt, our President-elect, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a he for she who has always empowered women in all spheres of life, having picked a woman as his running mate as the governor of Lagos State, and also supported his amiable wife, who is also our incoming First Lady, to become a senator in today's parliament. That is a true testament of charity beginning at home. And electing and supporting a female speaker will become another test of him driving the 35% affirmative action, as well as an action plan towards the implementation of the national gender policy. To this effect, my election as the Speaker House of Representatives will afford Nigeria the rare opportunity of killing 2 ubiquitous birds of gender balancing and youth inclusiveness in its political and leadership landscape with one stone. I am a woman, I am a youth. Truthfully, I amply represent the twin engine essence of Nigeria's youth and female status quo, whom the circumstances of our political exigencies have made an endangered and vulnerable species. And this is so true, but sadly. Again, the issues of regional balancing in the nation's leadership equation is another veritable challenge that my election to the Speakership of the House of Representatives will address and resolve simultaneously in the interests of national unity, peace, and inclusion. Who wouldn't want 4 for the price of 1? I am armed with a remarkable educational resume, having a Bachelor of Science degree from the prestigious University of Lagos, where I acquired a BSc in Estate Management. And I also have a Master in Environment Planning and Protection from the University of Abuja. I have a postgraduate degree in Peace Studies and Conflict Resolution. I equally have a rich professional exposure that straddles the estate facility management, environmental consultancy, logistics, the international development, and civil society sectors, respectively. Thus, having gained very extensive professional and business experience in the course of my career, seamlessly I am a quintessential entrepreneur and an employer of labor. I'm experienced also in the business world, a boardroom strategist. I am an avid player in the real estate and facility management and consultancy and business development sectors. I also bring extensive and robust political experience to the table, having held multiple political appointments before consecutively elected as a member of the 9th and 10th Assemblies, respectively. And I represent the good people of Isialamba, no, Onimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. And this position amply offers me the opportunity to establish myself as a legislator par excellence with 3 bills to my credit and the stellar performances in major committees of the House of Representatives, such as the Pioneer Chair House Committee of Disabilities, where I have championed the implementation of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act and given it life by enforcing that MDAs and general public come to terms with the realities of respecting the rights as well as the welfare, inclusion of persons with disability in all spheres of life as provided for in the Act. In conclusion, I am in this race to be Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives to bring fresh ideas and pragmatic solutions to the harrowing current challenges of our national cohesion, to profile a new legislative agenda for addressing the current debilitating issues to our dwindling economy, mass poverty, promoting bills that support massive industrialization of the economy to create jobs, inclusivity, and unity of the Nigerian state. I believe that Nigeria is at the threshold of history, and I believe that the incoming government has heard loud and clear the current hues, cries, and aspirations of the Nigerian youth, and as such, I have no modicum of doubt that my speakership of the 10th Assembly will very much help the incoming government to foster a government that empowers the people, that includes the people, both youth, women, and every religion, and works 100% for the people to deliver the promises my fellow Nigerians have long yearned for through the instrumentality of the legislature via the House of Representatives. My mission is a vision to promote diversity, equity, inclusivity, where legislative activities are enabled through technological funnels with indigenous trackers to develop value for Nigeria. I hereby unveil to Nigerians my 7-point agenda for the Unity Assembly. Digitization of activities of the rules and business committees to improve effective record management without conflicts. This has been a lingering challenge in the House of Representatives and the National Assembly as a whole, where rules and business of the House, bills, motions, and other business are done without proper record management, which most times leads to rancor and misunderstanding between and amongst members. My administration will foster a seamless address to this issue, and it will become a thing of the past. I will introduce periodic strategic, legislative, and executive dialogue for effective intervention by NAS. This will engender periodic meetings of the executive and leadership of the legislature, periodically so that issues of national importance and that bother the nation will be critically addressed, and the members will also be briefed at intervals to foster better understanding of policies of government so that the legislature can interpret it and represent to the public with bills and motions that answer to the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians. I'll create opportunity for National Assembly and stakeholders engagement to provide access for public participatory governance in the lawmaking process. This will improve public awareness of the role of the legislature. Oftentimes, the actual roles and duties and powers which the lawmaker derives in performing his or her duties are not even understood or well aware of by the public. I will bridge this knowledge gap by opening the Nigerian House, because the House belongs to the people, so that the people will come and speak their minds, create public opinion, drop boxes where people will come, create feedback mechanisms, so that Nigerians will come and give us what they want, so that we'll present bills and motions that will speak to their yearnings and aspirations, thereby making the people to own the parliament and not see it as a case of we versus them. This will also reduce the rancor and the misunderstandings the general public has of the National Assembly. This will also help to educate and enlighten the general public of the constitutional roles and mandate of a lawmaker. Most times we are pushed to go beyond what is expected of a lawmaker by the general public. You are expected to build roads, construct bridges and classrooms, and do this and all that. All of those are very important, but to the extent with which your office permits, they are not the core mandate of the lawmaker. But do the public know? It's another thing. We need to bridge that gap, and my administration as Speaker, House of Representatives, would address all of those shortcomings. I will improve legislative policy action to promote the interest of women and other vulnerable groups. I will trigger gender-responsive budgeting, introduction of sign language interpreters during plenaries, and other house business, amongst other innovative ideas. We are running a government of inclusivity, diversity, and productivity, and all sector and everyone, all shades and color, must be included. And persons with visual impairment or hearing loss should not be cut out of activities of plenary and committee meetings. And as Pioneer Chair, House Committee on Disability, I will lead by example. And the disability community will be home with the fact that electing me as Speaker will bring an all-inclusive platform for all Nigerians to be inclusive with the government. I would also facilitate periodic development programs for leadership of committees and members to address common and emerging issues. If we are well informed, some of us have come from different backgrounds into the National Assembly. There will be need for training and retraining, constant engagement with the various MDAs and their mandate to ensure that when we oversight them, we do that in line with an informed position, so that we are not just misunderstanding ourselves because of lack of knowledge or for some misunderstandings that could be avoidable. I'll promote unity, cohesion, and improve welfare of members across party lines and irrespective of their geopolitical divider. I am a woman. A woman is naturally an incubator, and I will be a unifying point, a rallying point for the old and new members. And as a youth and as a woman, I will be a rallying point also for all the gender in the House. I'll enhance committees' financial independence to promote their effectiveness. And this is the 7th point. And then also, because we are all aware that the coming elections have not increased the number of women in parliament, the cost of electioneering campaign and the risks involved in campaigns, we have all come back from an election that was heated, so much so that it was even feared if the election will hold. I want to use this opportunity, having come from a harrowing experience, and saying that the number of women in the 10th Assembly has not increased. The statistics averages just about 3% of the women participation in elective offices, especially the House of Representatives and the Senate inclusive. I hereby wish that the government would declare a state of emergency on the dwindling number of women in politics and parliament in particular. This will be a deliberate act and action that will be a call to action in the real sense if we are not playing lip service. Something drastic, something deliberate has to be done to ensure that the number of women participation in politics is increased. We are all aware that the last election witnessed low turnout. Low turnout owing to the fact partly that women who largely control the votes might have been cut out owing to the fact that there is poor inducement of their fellow women to vote. And even with the small numbers that came out, over 60% of the voters have been proved to be women. How best and how best can this teeming Nigerian female voters be rewarded, if not by electing a woman on the presiding seat of the National Assembly and the House of Representatives, in particular, to be a thank you for standing in the sun, for standing in the rain, for daring the daredevils, for daring those who said there will be no election, whereas women came out in their numbers to give everybody votes, including the men. And I also dare to say again that the protocol list, the Nigeria's protocol list, can no longer be completed without the female gender included. President, man. Vice President, man. Senate President, man. Deputy, man. Speaker, woman. Deputy Speaker, man. It is imperative that we, at this point, imbibe an alternate gender position for effective administration of the National Assembly. I am well qualified. I have gathered the requisite experiences. I have learned also on the job. And I have observed the loopholes and have preferred this 7-point agenda as a cure and as a starting point to rejig the National Assembly and put it in tune with the realities of our time, and give an opportunity for Nigerians to have a house which can be called as the house for the Nigerian people.
Wow, a fully packed plan, I dare to say. The female lawmaker has more to say, believing the time has come for the Green Chamber to have a woman as Speaker.
Like you are aware, in almost all, about 90 positions of this country, the men have dominated it. Ceding this one position to me will be a way of proving that we are running an inclusive government. And I use this opportunity to call on my other co-contestants, my male contestants, to consider the love and the care Nigerian voters have shown to them, and as a mark of honor, step down to support this women. I call on the male contestants to step down in the interest of peace and understanding. If Nigeria and our democracy has to advance, my candidature has to be pushed, and the support could come from my fellow contestants. This appeal I make passionately and with all sense of humility. As a mother, I will better have the ability to unite the house. The attributes of a woman is inclusiveness. A woman breathes life. A woman nurtures. At this time of our political history, we need a woman to transform us, because we are at a transition to another level. Having a Miriam Onoha on the saddle will bring inclusivity and better management of the house. I have a good background of conflict resolution and peace building. That I will bring on the table to make sure that there is harmony in the running of both the political and the administrative arms of the National Assembly. So help me God.
Interesting confidence, if you ask me. Let's go the way of analysis in terms of how the number of lawmakers will influence the voting and outcome of the politics. Worthy of note is the fact that the ruling party has so far won a total of 162 seats in the Green Chamber in the February 25 National Assembly polls, whereas the opposition parties have a total of 163 seats, comprising 102 People's Democratic Party seats, 34 Labour Party seats, 18 new Nigerian People's Party seats, 4 All Progressives Grand Alliance seats, with 2 each for the Social Democratic Party SDP and African Democratic Congress ADC, and only 1 seat for the Young Progressive Party YPP. Now, elections into 35 federal constituencies across the country are, however, yet to be concluded, and there is also the issue of zoning, which analysts believe will still play a major role. Well, at this point, I should leave the calculation for you to do. Amidst all that is so far playing out, the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, met with all contestants, with an inside sources giving reasons for the meeting as a way of waiving speculations that the Speaker was working for the emergence of a particular lawmaker as his successor. Meanwhile, lawmakers-elect in the opposition are equally strategizing on how to influence the outcome of the speakership contest, or even have one of them emerge as the leader of the 10th House. The lawmakers-elect from the minority parties, which pride themselves as the greater majority, met in Abuja to form a synergy ahead of the June 13 inauguration of the House. Convener of the meeting, a ranking PDP member from Bayelsa, Mr. Fred Agbede, in his welcome address, said it is imperative for the opposition members-elect to close ranks in the interest of the country's democracy and their respective political parties and constituents.
I also congratulate us on our election victory, which was not easy to achieve, but by the grace of God. Us puts out on our shoulder responsibility not only to represent our people, but see Nigeria as one constituency where our contributions should make life meaningful to all. This session is to enable us to network, interact, and familiarize ourselves as people that the results of 2023 general election has thrown up as a new face, having numbers that gives us greater strength to deepen opposition politics and democracy. Therefore, we need to realize such and bond for the interests of our parties and the people we are here to represent.
10th House of Representatives! Lastly, 10th House of Representatives!
The opposition members-elect at the end of their parley committed themselves to working together to protect the opposition and deepen democracy in the next assembly, with emphasis on the need to leverage on their numerical strength to determine the leadership of the 10th House. Just so you know, since 2011, when the then minority caucus led by Gbajabiamila supported Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal and former Imo State Governor Emeka Ihedioha to emerge as Speaker and Deputy Speaker respectively against the decision of the PDP, opposition lawmakers have serious influence in the emergence of a leadership of the House. One point to not easily wave off in this whole race is the fact that the minority parties this time around, bearing the large number of opposition members-elect, will be a critical factor in who becomes next leadership of the House. That should be about the Green Chamber for today. A peep now to how similar politics is playing out at the Red Chamber. Report from our correspondent there, Topsy Gimba, shows the likes of Senators Jibrin Barau, representing Kano North Senatorial District, the Chief Whip of the Senate, Orji Uzokalo, Senator representing Niger East, Sani Musa, are top contenders who have declared intention to run for the office of the Senate presidency. For Senator Jibrin Barau, decision to aspire for the position of Senate President is born out of qualifications as the only best senator amongst those who have so far declared the intention to contest. He said contesting for the position of President of the Senate requires being a ranking senator, and he is the most qualified. The lawmaker is in the coming days expected to roll out his campaign plans for the position. And now to the Chief Whip of the Senate, Orji Uzor Kalu's declaration.
Will I be comfortable for a Muslim Senate president? The answer is no, because I speak the truth. Like I told you people that I will stand for Muslim ticket. That is the only thing that will win APC. I will not be comfortable for Muslim Senate president because this is a secular state. In a secular state, we need to accommodate interests, nations upon nations, and spread to be able to maintain the secularity of our country. So I believe that, to me, like I told you people the truth here before, that I believe in Muslim tickets. I will not believe in another Senate president being a Muslim. It will not augur well for the country. The question is whether will I run? Yes, I'm ready to run for Senate president if the party zone it to my zone, because the party is supreme. Whether they want to zone it, they should zone it to my village, so nobody will contest it against me. I don't even want them to zone it to the south. The party should zone it to Igbere, in my ward. So, because I'm the only senator from there, you can manufacture another senator from another local government or from another place in Abia. So, I would like the party to zone it to me with my name. If they can do that, it will be very good, because President Tinubu needs people of high character to turn around this economy, to make sure that we work for the masses and make laws that will enable him to turn around the economy. I'm an economic person. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. Find myself in the Senate. So we will support it. You can see the bills I sponsor, like the railway bill that I sponsor. You can see that the railway bill, the state government can now build railways. The private sector can now build railways, like the electricity we unbundled. These are the kind of things that the president-elect and his deputy will like to see. And we are capable of handling this arm of the government for them. I'm ready mentally. In everything, I'm ready. Let me be honest with you. If we practice true democracy, I should not be in contest with anybody in this position. Because apart from the Senate President himself, Deputy Senate President Mogege, the Senate Leader Gobier, I'm the highest ranking member of the Senate. You saw what happened in the House of Representatives in the United States. We copied our democracy from them. There's no other senator who will even come up, because in a proper democratic position, you take by ranking. And I'm the highest ranking, not by years I've stayed there, by position I occupy today. You saw what happened in the House of Rep. Both the House leader and the minority leader were running pari passu, and that is what the democracy says. You don't fly from nowhere to come on the floor of the Senate. I'm sure even the senators will not agree, because it's an established norm by the Senate. It might not be written, but it's a norm of both the Senate and the House of Representatives. So it's virtually impossible that this thing will be zoned to and a new member or somebody that will not be able to. This is a very established place. You need somebody with experience. You need somebody with the skill. You need somebody who will be able to relate. Just call me Team Nigeria. I'm not an Igbo man, but I'm a Nigeria Igbo man. I'm a true Nigerian. When you look at my face, you see a face of new Nigeria. You see a man who supports Nigeria, who forgets where I come from. I'm not saying it because of anything. Otherwise, I couldn't have supported Muslim ticket. I was the first to break the gist. I was the first to tell them, my opinion, what I'm saying is not opinions of our party. It's my private opinion. If I'm left in my private opinion, the party should zone the Senate President to my village, to me.
The senator who has won re-election to represent Abia North in the Red Chamber was the first aspirant to declare his interest in the number 3 position in the country. Lastly, from the Red Chamber, in terms of leadership tussle, we have Senator Sani Musa, APC Niger East, also declaring intention to run for the office of the Senate President.
Being a party loyalist, I believe that we have had an interaction with the party before the governorship and state assembly elections. where we met at the banquet hall of the presidential villa, the chairman of the party requested that we all keep our intentions until when the party decides to release the zoning policy they have, or the zoning system. But be it as it may be, it is pertinent for everyone here to know that I intend to declare my intention when I see the zoning. But for now, my intent is to go for the presidency of the Senate. But in any case, we want a country where everyone will feel at home and united. And I strongly believe that the zoning policy that the party will come out with will address all the issues, especially the issues that came after the Muslim ticket. I'm sure it will be addressed. And once that is done, I believe that we members of the National Assembly, we will queue in and decide then to make a formal declaration. I intend to come in order to save our constitution and democracy in this country. You all are living witnesses of what is going on at the moment, the imbalances in this country. This country must unite.
Senator Sani Musa said North Central is one of the zones which has provided high number of votes for the president-elect, and it can only be wise for the party to pay the zone back with only a well-deserved position.
I believe that if I come in, I'm going to come in with a new for this country. This is the edifice that will give a direction of administration in this country. Today, Nigeria is faced with high rate of inflation of over 2 digits. Unemployment is high. Insecurity is there. The value of Naira has gone so down. You can imagine what is happening even about the Naira swap. It shouldn't happen in a country like Nigeria. We're supposed to be advancing. In Africa today, we're supposed to be advanced economy of Africa. But alas, we are not seeing it. And the only institution that will give antidotes to having that strong policies that will shape this country and unite this country and give prosperity to this country is the National Assembly.
All right. Those are some out of the many ranking senators who have eyes for the Senate presidency seat. We now await the party's unveiling of contenders for public knowledge. And just like the reps, a number of factors ranging from number of senators across party line to issue of zoning will continue to shape and reshape the process till a winner emerges. The maize will surely be keeping you abreast on the go. This is where we call it a day on the program today. Do well to join us Friday next week. I am Rosemary Kokotega. Bye-bye.